my, so I can mute my mic if I got a cough.
All right. And I just hit go. I'm also hearing an echo. Is that from me or you? So, folks, while I try to figure out who's echoing here, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are out there in the world, ladies, gentlemen, others. Um, Welcome to Nerd Week Live. You know, I'm looking sideways over here because I'm looking at both of us the way we are. So hold on a sec. Let me make a little change
I
here.
do that. I do that all the time for me.
Yeah. At least now I'm looking more at the camera and I can glance up and see myself. There we go. Like I said, welcome to Nerd Week Live. Sarah, yo, welcome to the show. Oh, that's you, Crash. Brought to you by the folks here at. Oh no, I didn't turn on my blue lights. I'm talking. You can't. Oh, anyway, doesn't matter because I haven't turned off the overhead. Welcome Nerd Week Live, brought to you by the folks here at Nerd Caliber. I'm Rodney Brown, editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber, first-person shooter as a photographer on Facebooks, Burley_adopter, tech writer on other things, Twitter, and so on. Joining me tonight in the really blue room is.
Oh, I was trying to catch some of the stars in my mouth.
They're not snowflakes. They're not snowflakes.
No, I catch those on Twitter. Anyways, hi everyone, it's Louis Caroll, Crash the Stampede on Instagram, and Twitter if you want to look me up every so often. I don't really use Twitter that much. I'm not really a Twitter person. I've been doing a lot of TikTok though. Crash over right on that as well, and I share a lot of videos that I have nowhere else to put. I'm a co-producer with Nerd Caliber here, and I'm glad to be on the show again. Pop in whenever I can to assist the good old Rodfather. Not that he needs that assistance, but welcome to the show, and I hope you guys shoot some questions at us. So we can hit you off with some really juicy answers. We got a lot of great things going on tonight, so I hope you guys participate with all of us.
And Pennywise, welcome. Say hi. Say hi to your mom to me. Doing it before me? Anyway, say hi. Welcome. Naruto, welcome. And RIP Juice World. Crummy Pizza, hello. And Pennywise, I just switched back over so you could see us. We're trying a new sort of chat program to stream into the service, and it's making me a little discombobulated. But having said that, yes, I agree with Lewis 100%. Throw those questions in there. We got a bunch of stuff, lots of trailers we're going to be looking at, and some other news. We're going to start off with a couple of bits of sad information. I don't know whether you saw this out there. The image that was up there before, while you were all supposed to be looking at us as I said things about Lewis in his blue room and you didn't see it, was this image right here. That is Caroll Spinney, and Caroll Spinney passed away a couple of days ago after years and years and years of being the puppeteer behind Big Bird and also Oscar the Grouch. And that's, of course, Oscar that's in that picture there with you, or with him that you see. He had retired a few years ago because he said basically it was time to hang things up. He was getting on in age. He passed away at the age of 85. And this is really sad news. He was a wonderful person. I saw him at a number of conventions here in New England. He was a New England native, born here in Massachusetts, and lived in Connecticut for most of his life. Um, Caddy Claus, the broke person's back. All right. Um, Whoever that happens to be.
I'm pretty broke, I guess.
There you go. Me too. So when you get right down to it, anyway. So yeah, very sad news. One quick story about this: we run our own event called the Cosplay Photography Expo. In case you guys don't remember or haven't seen what that is, our first one was in 2015, and it was at the Southbridge Hotel in Southbridge, Mass. Basically, right on the southern border of Massachusetts, right where sort of Connecticut and Rhode Island meet. we were told to be very careful about people running around in costume, particularly those with big weapons or guns or so on, because there was a family reunion going on that same weekend that had been going on forever. Um, and they said the person who was running the event for us at the hotel said, this Spinney family has been doing this thing for a long time here, and we really don't. And both Manny and I, who were at that point doing the negotiations, sort of looked at each other and went, "You mean Caroll Spinney?" Yep, that's who it was. It just, oh yeah, you know, yeah, Big Bird, that Caroll Spinney, and she goes, yeah, but people aren't supposed to know that. I'm like, yeah, everybody knows that, or everybody who's a Sesame Street fan. So our very first event was held at the very same time as Caroll Spinney's family reunion, and it was great, sort of seeing him occasionally wander by in the hotel. So that's my one Caroll Spinney story. Aside from again seeing him recently, he's been at a number of New England cons. Probably trying to get in his last few appearances, knowing things were, not going to last long.
Understandable. Yeah. I don't really have a Caroll Spinney story. I do have a Sesame Street story. I'll keep it really brief, but when my mom and my dad came over from Puerto Rico, they didn't know how to speak English. My mom was like super committed to learning English. So what she would do is she would watch Sesame Street with a Spanish or English to Spanish dictionary. And then when Big Bird and Elmo would come on and like pronounce words and such, she would just sit there and go through the book and learn the words. And she nowadays she's really fluent. She has a bit of an issue with her past and present tenses, but who cares at that point? Like when you self teach yourself a language, I think we can let things fly.
Yeah, absolutely, and good for her. Couple of points here. Pennywise, yes, I do look different. I changed my contacts, and now so I don't really need my reading glasses like I did before. So that's why. Um, and how old is Sesame Street? It is more than 50 years old. I think it's around 55. Um, it's been around for a long, long time. Uh, let's
Started
see.
broadcasting around '69, so
Yeah, so exactly 5 years or 50 years. So there you go. I am hearing my own voice. Lewis, do you have anything that's actually playing sound?
no, sir.
That's not my. No, that's not. All right. Must be some sort of echoey thing happening with this new streaming thing we're doing. Anyway, we're moving on to our next sad bit of news. We had a second death, third death if you count Juice World, this past week in the nerd community, though, and that's the actor Rene Auberjonois, who's best known in the nerd community as playing that character behind him, Odo from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. He first came to my awareness back in a sitcom in the 1970s called Benson, which nobody on this particular chat knows or remembers, but it was very funny at the time. And he was he was a really good actor, a really good dramatic actor, but was known more for his comedy work until he did Odo, until he did sort of science fiction work, and that nailed him back again as somebody who was very good as a dramatic actor.
Yeah, Odo was incredible. He was incredible as Odo throughout every season, especially through the Jem'Hadar War. Like, it was phenomenal acting on his part.
Keg, Santa. All right. I don't know if you were referencing me or Odo. I don't think Odo looks anything like Santa. But yes, this is very sad news. He was really good. I loved how in the first few seasons he was sort of an interesting background character of Deep Space Nine, that is, and then they expanded out his backstory, and what a backstory! His backstory essentially became the genesis for the whole story of the Jem'Hadar War. Without Odo as a racial type or as a species, I don't think anybody would have explored the idea of the Dominion and the whole that whole concept. So R.I.P. for Rene Auberjonois and Odo. You will be missed. A wonderful talent. Moving on. Now we're getting into some news that is news of a non-death variety. First one, and a few of these are going to be pretty quick before we get into the trailer stuff. That is an image that just popped up there from the movie Snatch. And the reason I put that up there is the gentleman all the way to, it's on your screen, your left? Your right? Anyway, the one with hair and not a hat. And that is Stephen Graham. He is a wonderful actor. He played Tommy in Snatch. He played Al Capone in Empire Boardwalk. He played, I can't think of his name, the really hot-headed gangster that went up against up against come on.
Yeah,
AFL.
you got to give me more info here.
In The Irishman, Al Pacino's character, I can't believe I've just lost him. AFL-CIO Hoffa, Jimmy Hoffa. He plays a gangster wonderfully. He is not necessarily being cast as a gangster. What he is being cast as is a character not yet known in the upcoming Venom sequel, Venom 2. Keg, have a good weekend. You too. I guess you're leaving. I haven't seen what you've posted otherwise about listen to something. Anyway, Pennywise, if you haven't seen Snatch, watch it. It's a wonderful movie. That is Brad Pitt, the one in the jacket without the shirt. He plays a bare knuckle prize fighter, hence all the blood.
Yes, Roma. Let's not use the other term.
Well, actually, so the Pikeys are not Roma. They're actually Irish people that would otherwise be used for that term. I had to look that up because when they keep referring to them as Pikeys, I went, why are they using that term? They're not Roma. They're Irish.
That's weird because I actually did look up that term years ago, and like they said that it was interchangeable with the other term.
All right. All right. I would guess because of the accent, they're making fun of the the Irish accent in England, so that would be why I would guess that. I don't get any sort of non-Gaelic, British, whatever accent out of him. I get an Irish sound, but anyway, that's completely different.
Yeah, and the actor there, he's a phenomenal actor. Like if you've never seen Snatch, but you've seen Boardwalk Empire, he's amazing in Boardwalk Empire. He does like such a multifaceted approach to Al Capone, and like it was just incredible.
He is a really solid actor. I have no idea what he's going to play in Venom 2, but I'm really looking forward to it now that I know he's in there along with Woody Harrelson.
It'll probably be a gangster.
It'll probably be a gangster. I think he actually played a gangster in Layer Cake, now that I think about it. I think he was in Band of Brothers, along with all of the other British actors that played American soldiers in Band of Brothers. But again,
yeah, I think I vaguely recall that.
So that he would then be teaming up with Tom Hardy again, who was also in Band of Brothers. Everybody is tossing out their names. Cool. Introduce yourselves to each other. That's great. And if I haven't said hello, I haven't said hello to Marvin. Marvin, welcome to the show. So yeah. So hopefully he plays somebody cool. They don't say so.
We'll find out soon.
That's true. All right, moving on to our next bit of news, and this actually sort of just had an additional piece of news which I just popped up literally about an hour ago. That's an image of the shows that were supposed to be coming to Hulu, the animated series from Marvel that was going to be on Hulu. You had a Howard the Duck series, you had MODOK. I can't remember the name of the monkey.
Hit Monkey, I think.
Hit Monkey. And then you had Dazzler and Tigra. They're all going to be written by really interesting creative people, or they were. And the news dropped that because of creative differences or whatever, mainly because apparently they fired the entire writing staff of the Dazzler and Tigra series, that is now on hold, i.e., probably not going to happen at all. There's some problems with this, because it's a series about two women who are sort of, sarcastically bucking the entire hero system within Marvel. Um, and it was going to be written as the head writer was Chelsea Handler of all people. It was clearly going to be something moving towards the new Harley Quinn series on DC Universe, which is just, it's Harley Quinn as Rick and Morty. It's as foul-mouthed as you can get. All of the writers, almost all, I think all the writers, but let's say almost all the writers in the staff were women, because it's a show about women. And they're just, every one of them has been canned. So
Now do you think, opinion-wise, do you think that's because they're folding Marvel TV into Marvel Studios?
Perfect segue right there. That's why we pay you the big bucks. The second story that dropped just about an hour ago was, in fact, that Marvel TV as a separate division is done. It's over. There is no more Marvel TV. All of the content that was being produced under Marvel TV or planned to be produced is now under Marvel Studios, which makes sense since Kevin Feige is now the chief creative officer of essentially all Marvel. And that includes Marvel Comics, by the way. He is the chief creative for Marvel Entertainment completely. So, do I think that's why? I don't know that that's why. I think that the decision has had more to do with a difference in creative vision between Marvel in general, or Disney, perhaps, and the way the writers were going, than the fact that it was a political move because of these corporate changes. I think that the corporate changes are indicative of the fact that these kind of decisions are probably going to be more common. And if that means that they cut out some of the edge from a show about MODOK or Howard the Duck, I'm going to be, that Kevin Smith is doing, I'm going to be really unhappy.
Yeah, I can understand that. Originally the concept that I recall being pitched was Hulu was going to have all the edgier Marvel stuff, and then the Disney Plus will have all the softer, huggable nonsense. And it's kind of weird to fold that in and get rid of that now. Was it in my head? I'm thinking that some idiot corporate executives went in there, saw how edgy and how foul mouthed some of the jokes were coming along, and then started not so subtly trying to step in and tweak the jokes and change things, and the writers were just not having it. And good for the writers. I'm sorry that you guys got all fired, but I'm hoping that you got fired standing up for what you wanted, as opposed to bending over for that paycheck and giving a subpar product that you didn't want to put out to begin with.
I think that may very well have been the case. I need to correct something. I was just reading through the article again. Chelsea Handler is still technically attached to the show as showrunner, and she's apparently was going to be the one of the lead voices. I don't know whether it was supposed to be Dazzler or Tigra. So we don't know whether or not it was possibly a conflict with her. She may have had a conflict with the writers. But we do know is that the showrunner and the writers are all gone. So fingers crossed this doesn't mean what it kind of looks like it means as far as edgy shows coming out of Marvel. Speaking of treating women poorly, that's an image from one of the characters from League of Legends. I don't play League of Legends. I have no idea who this amphibious-tailed, pretty hero person thing is. But it is a League character. League is, of course, from Riot Games. Riot Games was sued a while back for gender discrimination by a bunch of employees. And it settled after a while, it settled to agreed to pay $10 million to the women who brought the suit. Um, Women who apparently worked to the company over the past 5 years, according to this article, violating California's Equal Pay Act. Yeah, if you don't pay women the same as you pay men who are doing the same job, whether it's in a video game company as their developers or whatever it is, yeah, get fined, pay up, change the way you're doing things. Jesus.
It shouldn't be that simple. It shouldn't be that hard at all. But these companies keep making it that hard, and then when they get penalized for it, they want to cry foul and be the victims of it. And really, they're not the victims in this. Like, they perpetuated this like environment. They're the ones who helped create this environment, and now they're being held accountable for that environment. Like, be grown-ups about it, pay out who you got to pay out, and change your work culture.
Yeah, unfortunately, Riot has had so many complaints over the last few years about their work culture, about and not just for gender discrimination in pay, about sexual harassment. It is not, from what so many people who have worked there have reported, a place you would want to work at this point. A couple of questions. Pennywise says, "I want to see the Harley Quinn series. If you're allowed to, I'm not really sure what your age is, Pennywise. You should. It's funny. It's pretty profane and
Very
violent,
crass, but in a good
very
way.
crass. Wait, did they do the other new characters in the game?
The women who are paid out in the suit, I'm going to assume that they at least to some degree participated in the work required to make those new characters. So
Yeah,
we can say yes. We can arguably say yes.
yeah. Um, and Catty Claus, because everybody, anytime anybody asks me what's my favorite show, I'm always going to say The Expanse. It is coming back for season 4 in 3 days. Friday, we finally get to see it come back. If you haven't watched it, it's on Amazon. Go watch the first 3 seasons, please. Um,
Conversely, it's tough, but it's between Watchmen and Mr. Robot.
ooh, yeah. All right, they're right up there. Um, and I'm kicking myself for not including Mr. Robot in my top 10 of the 2010s list right now. It would be 11 or pretty close. Um, Pennywise, apparently you just come in over the you're allowed to be on anyway, so good. And knowing that you're 13, we'll try not to swear so that we don't get demonetized under COPPA. No guarantees though. Moving on. So now that was our last bit of news before we get into trailer. First trailer.
Some of the good stuff.
Some of the good stuff. Resident Evil 3 remake trailer dropped. You know what, Lewis? I'm gonna let you jump right into this as the first time I ever saw you. Not that I knew it was you. First photo I ever took of you was you were cosplaying as what?
I was cosplaying Nemesis.
That's right.
And for you guys who even consider cosplaying Nemesis, let me just let you in on a little tip when you're first learning on how to make a costume, because Nemesis was one of my absolute first costumes. If you're gonna commit to sweating like a demon inside a padded suit, make sure that the zipper is good quality, because mine kind of like locked up and rusted. So I was trapped in my costume for like 3 hours.
That
But
is
for
awful. I can't
yeah,
imagine.
now for those guys, if you're fans of Resident Evil, obviously this is a fantastic remake, running off of
Hold
the
on a
remake
second.
from
Hold on a
Resident Evil
second.
2.
Hold on a second. Keg, don't ask that question. Marvin, don't answer that question. Nobody answer that question. Keg, you ask that question again and you'll be banned from the site. No personal information ever in this chat. Don't say it. Don't ask about it. We don't want to know what schools anybody here goes to, unless you're an adult and you want to say what university you go to. Period. Done. Thank you. Let's get back to the show.
Yes, you guys also have private messaging for that, not on our chat.
Exactly.
But if you guys played Resident Evil 2, the remake, which was actually fairly phenomenal, and I actually cosplayed Mr. X from that as well. at last year's Katsucon. That was a lot. That was a lot of fun. And now they came out with Resident Evil 3, which was originally was a phenomenal video game. So having the remake and the remake coming out with their 4-player co-op multiplayer Left 4 Dead-ish type game also coupled into that is actually really intriguing. Because if I recall correctly, that was supposed to be a standalone game that was going to come out at a later date, and then they're kind of mashing them together. So it kind of makes me think a little bit like maybe that game wasn't as good as they were portraying it as, and so lumping it with Resident Evil 3 as a extra thing added on to the remake is just sort of to get it out there and to get people to play it, and then they just like make it better as the game progresses. But like I'm super happy. Like if Nemesis has the same AI that Mr. X had in Resident Evil 2, then it's gonna be hella scary. Like because Mr. X just followed you around the map, and a lot of people actually tested the theory in that even if the character didn't exist, Mr. X never spawned and despawned. He actually walked around the entire map. So that'd be great to see Nemesis doing that as well, patrolling the map and using opportunities to like take advantage of the player and like kill them and things like that. So I'm hyped, and like that pre-order with the statue, that's good. I know a lot of people, and I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're that type of person, I probably think you're kind of stupid, but a lot of people are upset that in the remake Jill is wearing pants as opposed to the mini skirt. Pants are better to run away from things than a mini skirt. But if you're really hard up about playing the mini skirt, you can pre-order the game and you can get the classic skin with the mini skirt. So there, you best of both worlds. You don't need to complain about changes. Changes need to happen. Things need to evolve. Stop crying about it because it's happening regardless of how you feel.
Exactly. And I got to say, I was going to point out that I actually love the new look of Jill Valentine. I mean, who doesn't love the classic Jill Valentine? The blue tank top and the black miniskirt. It was great. It was wonderful to cosplay. It doesn't make sense for a zombie survival horror game. Uh, and this new look that's up on your screen right now, it looks very new Rise of the Tomb Raider. Um, and I think that's great. I think it's so much more practical. Um, but like Lewis said, you can get that original costume. Just pay up in advance. Done deal. I love the look. I think it's great. The nature of the action. You see an awful lot of it. This threw me a little bit. You see an awful lot of it in first person view as you're watching the trailer. But it's been confirmed that this will be third person, like the RE2 remake, like the original games. You'll be playing essentially a third person over the shoulder view. Um, so it'll play in that case very similar to the original. The graphics are outstanding.
Yeah, and can I also say that I really appreciate the change that they did to Carlos in the original Resident Evil. Carlos, slicked hair, indistinguishable from any other person outside of a slightly browner tan. But like in this remake, he actually looks like a Latino of indigenous backgrounds, which he is. If you go look up his like story, he actually is an indigenous person. So it's really great. Like the hair and everything, I was just like, yo, they really like bringing out them Afro Latino roots, and I love it.
Yeah, it's really cool. I don't know who does the voice, honestly. I tried looking it up to see whether or not that was Keanu Reeves, because boy, that sounds like Keanu Reeves. Um, I think they would obviously take
we can
advantage of
we
the
can
marketing
dream.
on that if that was the case. Pennywise miniskirt, yeah. So in the you can look this up. Look up the character Jill Valentine on like a Google image search, and you'll get the original outfit. It's a black, fairly tight, mini mid skirt, and blue tank top. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
moving on.
Conceptually, she was leaving Raccoon City at the time. That's why she's wearing evening wear. But it's still kind of like you couldn't change pants when you saw the zombies outside. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I feel like me personally, if I looked out the window and there were zombies, I'd probably cack myself. So I'd probably change my pants anyways. So
Bring spares and wear the brown pants. She is wearing brown pants, so that's probably important. All right, moving on to our next trailer. This is the new Ryan Reynolds movie. Well, the next new Ryan Reynolds movie. The newest Ryan Reynolds movie is a Michael Bay actioner called Six Underground. This is Free Guy. If any of you are from the Boston area, you might recognize this as around Milk Street, Federal Street. This is the financial district, downtown Boston. This whole thing was filmed in the Boston area. And the nature of the story is that if you've seen the trailer, Ryan Reynolds plays an NPC in a video game who decides that he doesn't want to be the generic background bank teller victim NPC anymore, and starts fighting against what it turns out ultimately are players.
Yeah.
It looks really cool, and the coolest thing about it for me anyway is that I know, and I don't know who, I know that there are people in like background character shots that are in there because at PAX East last year I was contacted by one of the people doing the local acting recruiting for the movie and put him in touch, or put a bunch of people in touch with him, and they will be in this movie. Some of them will be in this movie. I can't wait to see it, if for no other reason to just stare at the background characters and go, oh, that's X and Y.
Yeah, it looks fairly interesting. Just a slight correction there, but it's not that he stops wanting to be the bank teller thing. He actually gains sentience and realizes it's a video game as opposed to just knowing it's a video game all the time.
Eventually, yes. The way the trailer presents it is, it looks like at first he just sort of makes a change and then becomes aware of the fact that they are video game characters that are running around. That's why his day keeps repeating with all sorts of crazy violence all the time. Pennywise, Ryan Reynolds? Really? Who's Ryan Reynolds? I'm assuming that's a joke, but if you don't know the actor Ryan Reynolds, I suggest Google or IMDb.com.
If you don't know Deadpool, we can't help you, man.
Yeah, Deadpool, Green Lantern, Blade 3.
Please don't bring up Blade 3, because then I'll just... Come on. He's trying to get me into an early grave with that one.
Oh,
I
love his character in Blade 3. Anyway, I don't love a whole lot else about Blade 3, but him and Patton Oswalt are the two best things. Anyway, Free Guy is the name of the movie. Free Guy is the name of the movie, and it is coming out, do we know when? Let me look at the article real quickly here, while I try not to lean too deeply into my camera. This article doesn't say. Yeah, so hopefully coming out soon, because I really want to see this. If for no other reason than I worked for nearly 2 decades right around where all of this was filmed.
Good old Boston.
Good old Boston. So, moving on to our next trailer. Waifu, don't watch this one, or Pennywise, don't watch this one. Marvin, if you're accurate about your age, which is impossible because you couldn't be on this channel or on YouTube unless you were lying, you can't watch this either. This is trailer for season 2 of the Amazon series The Boys, and yeah, looks like they just keep the gore, violence, profanity ratcheted right up to 11.
Which is good.
Which is good, yeah.
Which is good. I've read the comics. I love the season 1. Thought it was great. I loved how they didn't go the direction of the comics, but they maintained the spirit of the comics. I did hear, or I did read a rumor, which I'm going to be really interested about, is in season 2, they're supposed to introduce a new hero called Stormfront. Stormfront in the comic books was Superman Nazi. And supposedly he's supposed to be, or she, because they're gender swapping Stormfront, she is supposed to be in season 2. So I'm interested how they're going to play with, like, the character being a Nazi Ubermensch.
That would be very interesting. I'm not really sure. I don't want to give away too much. Yes, it'll be very interesting to see how they play that character. If the character is in fact a Nazi, I can't imagine that they will play it in anything other than the way you would expect this show to handle a Nazi. Um, Pennywise, the reason I said you shouldn't watch it is that it is so 18 plus in language, subject matter, violence, gore. It's just,
Yeah.
it is.
My
I'm
my
not making
only
any
like
judgment
little
calls about how your parents allow you to watch stuff. That's up to them and up to you. But
my only little thing with Stormfront, like, yeah, you can play anything. Like, if it's a Nazi, it's a Nazi. But the thing that needs to be understood with the boys is the heroes are made to look like pristine and noble in their comic books, and that includes Stormfront. So I'm interested in how they're gonna portray Stormfront being pristine and noble and not a Nazi, but also looks exactly like a Nazi. And that's going to be great. And I foresee logging onto Twitter when that episode comes out and watching the notifications go bananas.
yeah. Um, it'll be the first season was just a thrill ride from start to finish. I can't. I'm sure the second season will be the same. Um, Oh, that's interesting. So just a second. Pennywise apparently is wondering whether or not I should allow you to say the word Nazi. I'm going to let it because obviously you're questioning. Yeah, the character is apparently a neo-Nazi, or at least presented as a neo-Nazi.
Well, a Nazi. They actually existed in Germany
Oh,
during the time.
okay.
Yeah, so they're not Neo.
All right. Um, so Pennywise asks what the series is about. Let's try to do this in a real quickly. It is the story.
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
People who don't have superpowers pissed off against people who do have superpowers because those people who have superpowers do bad things. The end.
Well, okay, yeah, but are presented by the corporation that runs them as absolutely paragons of virtue in their television appearances, their comic books, and so on. Um,
Sure, but I wanted them to Google that stuff and learn it.
oh, okay, all right. But I think that's a very important aspect of the show because right out of the gate, when the main character discovers that all that he believed is not true, that's a huge drop.
Sure,
Um,
sure. But we wanted to summarize it, not summarize it.
Speaking of keeping things moving, we're going to move on to our next thing. And it is Ghostbusters Afterlife. So we got the trailer, we got the name of the Ghostbusters sequel, official sequel, um, and a first look at it. And I got to say, it looks fantastic. I really like what they're doing with the story about sort of the descendants of the original team. Um, the callbacks, like the original Ecto One that's on the screen up there in front of you, um, aren't played as Easter eggs. They're played as important or elements of the plot. Um, they throw in some wonderful things that aren't even in either of the two movies. I don't think they're even in the animated series. There was a toy
The
that was
the
associated
gunner
with the
seat
animated.
is.
The gunner seat. It was a toy that was based on the animated series. Um, so I liked it. I thought it made me so much more interested in this than any of the teaser stuff that had been put out, cast announcements, or anything else that we've covered so far.
Yeah, I watched it, and I'll be honest. I've seen a lot of people already making comparisons to Stranger Things. I've never seen Stranger Things. I don't particularly have an interest in seeing it at the moment. Yeah, I know. I know.
Where's my
It'll be
nitro
like
pills?
Scrubs, where I waited 6 years before I saw Scrubs. But like, regardless of which, I seen people making the comparisons of Stranger Things, and sure, if that's what you like, okay. If you're upset that it reminds you of Stranger Things, okay, deal with that too, because a lot of people who complain about the 2016 Ghostbusters, which, if you have an opinion on it, that's fine. It's totally acceptable. It's the toxic elements that become a problem.
Yep.
A lot of people who were complaining about that are sort of complaining about this new one, and it's like, bro, you need to let your franchise evolve. This is what you wanted. You wanted your callbacks. You wanted the nostalgia, you have all of that there. So just let's see how this movie comes out. I think it's gonna be pretty good. I like it. I like the little callbacks. I like Shandor Mining Company. I thought that was adorable. That was something in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. I definitely think it has potential. And like Paul Rudd, come on, man, Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd is amazing. So the people who are making that comparison, well, Finn Wolfhard is in this and is in Stranger Things. So there's your comparison. And in Stranger Things, in one of the seasons, they wear Ghostbusters costumes for Halloween. So there's, come on, folks. I mean, a movie that has kids doing adventuring stuff isn't Stranger Things. It's Flight of the Navigator, or it's Goonies, or I mean, list all of the movies that came out long before Ghostbusters that have that as the central theme. Um, yeah, that's you're
Yeah,
reaching there,
and
folks. If that's what you're complaining about.
perfectly honest, like if you're gonna jumpstart a franchise, I feel like starting off as kids is a good idea to jumpstart a franchise, especially if you're going to maintain like the lineage and the family and all that nonsense. Then you start them off as kids. They grow up into ghostbusting. Good, we got a whole like 9 movies right there from them growing up. So it'll be pretty chill. Um,
A couple of questions. So, Caddy, what happened before it froze a few minutes ago? I don't know. It didn't appear to do that on my feed over here on YouTube, where I keep up so I can see your questions, but it might have. That happens with us. I'm on a directly connected to a FiOS connection, but still, you never know. The internet is the internet. Um, Pennywise, is Slimer in this? I think so. If you watch the trailer, they're chasing a ghost through their town at one point, and it kind of looks Slimerish.
hope. I mean, if the demon dog is in there, I can definitely see Slimer being there.
Yes, and the demon dog is definitely in there. And how old is Ghostbusters? 1979. I
I
could look
guess.
it up on
Like, I
IMDb,
think
but
right
it's
around that.
yeah, late 70s. So we're looking at pretty close to 40 years, right around 40 years old. Um, so yeah, looks good. Check out the trailer. The cinematography is fantastic. Jason Reitman, whoever you got for cinematographer, should definitely be nominated for something. It looks gorgeous.
Original Ghostbusters was 1984.
No, really?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at here. That's what it says.
All right, all right. So 35-ish years. Um,
Yeah, release date was June 7th, 1984.
okay. I stand or sit corrected. Moving on to our next trailer, our penultimate trailer, second to last. Um, that is a screenshot from the trailer, the first trailer that has dropped of the upcoming live-action Mulan from Disney, and there's an awful lot of potential controversy here, and that is the first live action remake that is not almost a shot for shot remake of the original story, or live action ish CGI in the case of Lion King. It is much more a sort of Chinese martial arts epic heroic retelling of the original Fa Mulan legend. So no Eddie Murphy as a little dragon. No songs as far as I know. Um, I love it because I'm a sucker for movies like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Hero, Red Cliffs, House of Flying Daggers, and this reminds me of all of those in the look, the feel. It is a wushu action, martial arts, witchcraft type movie. And beautifully shot in gorgeous settings, gorgeous scenery in China, etc. Um,
Yeah, no, and I definitely agree with that because, to be perfectly honest, like Lion King was a shot-for-shot remake of the cartoon for the most part, and I don't want to see that again. Like,
yep.
don't get me wrong, Lion King was good. I liked it, but I could have just watched the cartoon again. I like them taking chances with the properties and trying new things. And there's part of me that logically is like, yeah, they're making it a martial arts wushu epic because China, and you're gonna really like kick it out to them as much as is to us. But just like Rodney, I love those movies. Like one of my favorite like martial arts epics is Jet Li. Jet Li's Legend. Like that was one of my favorites right
Yep.
there. That was an amazing movie, and I want to see more of that. House of Flying Daggers, things like that. And I think Mulan is a great property to utilize that concept, that visual concept, and it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna bang it out of there.
I think so too. The question is whether or not enough Disney fans of the original animated movie are going to accept what they're doing here and go see it, as opposed to martial arts movie fans. If they get both of those, if they convince enough of the fans of the cartoon to come see this, then Disney's going to have a monster hit on its hands.
It's gonna be tough because realistically, like yeah, they want to reach out to the Disney fans that loved the original Mulan, but also they haven't made any like subtleness about the movie. They've told you straight up what this is. There's no singing, there's no woot, there's no like dragon, there's no Eddie Murphy. This is a straight up serious retelling. But I think I'm gonna gamble here a little bit and think that even though people are gonna bitch about no music and things like that, it's still gonna bring them in just to see the difference in the live action version.
Yeah. And then I guess the question is whether or not that will support multiple reviewings, which is what drives movies up into the the billion level. Couple of questions, Mr. Krakowian, welcome to the show. Um, Pennywise, yes, as you say, you've heard that live-action Mulan will not have singing. I believe that is the case, as we've just said. Caddy Claus, I want to answer that question about anime, and I guess if we're tied up with Mulan, I'll do it now before we move on to our last subject. Um,
Appetit pas.
yes. So newer animes, if you don't particularly like the 3D style, and I understand why that's the case, two recommendations for you. From a couple of years ago, check out Land of the Lustrous. It is 3D animation that is absolutely outstanding. Okay, I'll do three recommendations. Two, Demon Slayer wouldn't exist without 3D animation for the way they do the backgrounds and the water breathing and the other breathing fighting styles. But three, currently ongoing right now, there's an anime called Beastars, Beast ARS, and it is 3D animation that doesn't look like 3D animation at all. It's amazing. It's also an amazing story. I would recommend it very highly. All right, our last topic and our last trailer is Wonder Woman 1984. The scene or the clip that just or the image that just popped up, a screen capture that popped up there, is near the end of the trailer, and it's showing off what everybody's getting all excited about. Wonder Woman apparently at some point in the movie gets what has euphemistically been called by fans of the Kingdom Come comic book that this comes from, the golden chicken armor. It's an eagle-inspired helmet, but still. And I love it. I love the design. I liked the trailer. I didn't love the trailer. Yeah, Mr. Krakowian, you know what? No, don't say "Bring Back Song of the South" and say something like that again, and you're banned from the site, or from the channel. Yeah, no. I'm assuming you're trolling because of your comment about Disney's decapitated frozen head as well. So we'll see whether or not you get a third strike here. Anyway, I thought that the trailer did a great job of showing us what the look of the new film is, and that's about it. I don't think it did a very good job of building excitement for the story. It seemed like an awful lot of disjointed, and I had a problem with this with the Black Widow trailer too, an awful lot of disjointed, slightly connected, isn't this a great shot or image or one or two bits of like sliding action, and then let's move on to the next one. And I like trailers that build the anticipation and the excitement more than that. So Pennywise, yes, they are making a second Wonder Woman, and it's coming out in the summer. So if you didn't know that, I apologize for chuckling, but I kind of thought that was out there.
I thought the trailer was pretty good. It gave me a good idea, and I can agree to you. I agree with you to some level that like it was kind of disjointed, but also I kind of appreciate it being disjointed purely because I'm tired of trailers that pretty much tell me the whole damn movie before I go see it. I'd rather see little clips of like these like juicy little tidbits than actually see like large chunks of spoilerly like stuff. And that happens if you've seen Star Wars trailers right there. Like they just bang out most of the movie between 5 trailers, and you already know what the hell's happening through the whole thing. And I thought what I enjoyed the most, to be perfectly honest, outside of like everything, how Gal Gadot and everything they look great, is the Blue Monday cover. Like from or I thought that was it was so well done, and just it took me a little bit to like after the trailer I was like, wait, I know that song from when I was a kid. I was that's a Blue Monday. Holy crap, that sounds so good.
So here's an abject lesson in do your research, kids, before you criticize something. I sort of jokingly made a point that Blue Monday came out in 1986, not 1984. So haha, they screwed up. Turns out I didn't do deep enough research. The album version came out in 1986, but it was released as a 12-inch dance club single in 1983. So egg on my face. Do your research, folks. Um, but yeah, I mean, Blue Monday, New Order. It's a great song. It set. They did an excellent job of setting this in 1984. I'll give you that. The 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 Casio digital watch, like perfect. Um,
Yeah.
and that's it. I
So
mean,
do you,
the fact that I wasn't crazy about the structure of the trailer doesn't mean I'm any less excited about the movie. It didn't make me any more excited. Let's put it that way.
sure. Now, hot theory here. Do you think Trevor is Martian Manhunter?
Ooh. No, I think it's
Yeah.
Trevor. I think they're going to do something with, you know, mucking about with, time and so on. And we've certainly seen that that's possible. Um, uh, I think it is really Steve Trevor. I think that's a great theory. I think that would be a wonderful twist. Um, but no, I think it's because if it was, that's a really serious dick move by Martian Manhunter. Um,
Yeah, but he's done that. That's kind of his thing. Like sometimes he takes on like other people's forms, and he's just like so alien that he doesn't understand the concept of like that's a no bueno. That's a big no bueno to do. And it seems to me like maybe I don't necessarily agree with the theory, but I think it'd be kind of cool.
it's a
I
valid
definitely think it'd be
theory.
kind of cool.
It would certainly explain how Steve Trevor was there. It wouldn't explain why, if that is a scene of him putting a watch back in her hand, in this case a Casio digital, why or how Martian Manhunter knew that happened between the two of them.
True, true.
But again, it's a trailer.
Yeah.
That could be a scene that they cut in there that has absolutely nothing. That could be somebody putting a watch in somebody else's hand. We don't know. So
Yeah, and it's not surprisingly because like Max, I always forget his last name. Is it Max Lord or Max,
Maxwell Lord,
the
yeah,
main villain?
yeah.
Maxwell Lord. Yeah, Maxwell is a very like intelligent, conniving villain. So I wouldn't put it beyond him to like set something like that up purely to gain Wonder Woman's trust.
Yeah. Although I got to say, so Caddy Claus saying I mostly was raised with old things like Ozzy Osbourne, Dragon Ball, and that kind of stuff. I obviously am old enough that I remember when Matthew Lord was a a good guy. He was the financier for the Justice League for the Titans. He was the money man behind an awful lot of the stuff. And I don't disagree with the change that turned him into a villain because he was never a Lex Luthor villain. Um, he was very problematic for the Justice League, but he was never written as essentially just somebody who was blind, evil ambition, which is what Lex is. But yeah, Maxwell Lord being played by the Mandalorian. So That's really cool. The more he's in, the happier I am. So yeah,
Yeah.
July, folks, check it out. And I think that's it. That's our last topic. Do we have Lewis? Do you have a could we please or could we not call out?
Not particularly at this moment. There's nothing that I've seen recently that's like really like gotten into my craw. So, hey, uh, 10 more days, I think, to Star Wars, right?
Yep.
It's on the 20th.
Yep.
So good luck getting seats because I couldn't.
Rise of Skywalker. I'll put that out here right now for Lewis and anybody else who's on our content team. I've already signed myself up for the press screening. So sorry, Nerd Caliber team, but you know, being in the big chair has its privileges. So
Yeah. So just Nerd Caliber team just poison him. Anyways, you were saying?
Yeah, then you got to break into my emails to be able to get to the link to respond, and you know, it's
Your password's probably password, old man.
Yeah.
We have like what, a few minutes. Do you want to plug Cape a little bit, or?
Yeah, you know what? That's an excellent idea. Also, one thing we never do, hey, like, subscribe, all that stuff that YouTube people are supposed to say.
Yeah, subscribe, obey, that kind of stuff.
I'm going to plug somebody else. If you haven't seen Jim Sterling's Jimquisition on the use of the word consumer, it just came out today or yesterday. Go watch that video on YouTube. It will open up your mind an awful lot about the way marketing manipulates you, and it's really disturbing. Anyway, having said that, I'm going to do some marketing, and we're going to market our own cosplay and photography expo. The website is Cape, C-A-P-E, cape.nerdcaliber.com, and on there you can find out all the information. Like, it's a 2-day event that is all about educating people about how to either do pretty much anything you want to learn how to do in cosplay, or how to do the photography or video of cosplay. Expert panelists that are tops in their field. Cosplayers have won pretty much every Grandmaster award at most of the big cons you can think of on the East Coast. Fantastic cosplay photographers, Robin Studio, Anna Fisher. Just, it's amazing. Mansfield, Mass., right on the commuter rail. If you take an Amtrak all the way up from Washington, D.C. if you want to, and it will stop right there in Mansfield. Actually, no, you'll have to get off at the Providence stop and pick up the local train. But anyway. And July 18th, 19th, this coming summer, 2020, Holiday Inn in Mansfield. It's super inexpensive. The whole weekend is $40, and you will learn so much. We have studio spaces that are set up. If you've never used studio lighting and you want to learn how to do that, want to play around, there will be 3 studio setups, backdrops, at least 2 lights. Go in and have fun. Luminous, welcome to the show. And yes, Cape. And what else? Vendor room, dealers. What else did we forget? After party Saturday night. And that's it.
Yeah, that's just about it. I'll add just a little bit of it, a little of my showmanship when I say this. But like, if you've been to numerous conventions like Rodney and I have, they tend to have a lot of like interesting panels and things like that. But I feel like a lot of them aren't as interactive as our panels are. But not only that, at Cape we do teach things as well. Like, if you come into the little mini studios that we have set up, so you can try out camera equipment, you can learn flash photography, different things. I always bring my LED setups because I'm probably like one of 5 people that use LEDs at the moment. It's a growing thing, but it's getting there.
Reach back and grab my LED that's creating that blue light, but okay. Which
but
I bought because of you. So.
Because of me, because that's what I do. I'm a hustler. I made a cop buy a smartwatch once and talked myself out of a ticket, but that's another story. But realistically, with Cape, Nerd Caliber is they want to give back. We all want to give back to the community that helps us so much, and this is why Rodney and Manny put this together, why they work so hard for it, and why we're willing to give up our time to show you guys how to do these things, because it's not just for us and it's not just for you, but also I think personally, in terms of the community is evolving with photography and videography and things like that, and we provide a really nice safe space where you can learn to create your own content, and then you can learn, keep an eye out for like creepy people and things like that, and we have that space for you to come and learn and not feel pressured. So that's why we want you guys to show up.
Exactly. So check it out. You can see some of the photos from previous events. This is a new hotel for us, so we don't have any photos from any of the stuff that was produced there. But check out cape.nerdcaliber.com. Eli Chavez, what up, fam? Welcome to the show right at the time that we are going to say good night and goodbye. Thanks all for joining us. We'll hope to see you next week. Everybody, enjoy the season. If you're in New England here, I hope you enjoyed the warm weather in the last couple of days. And stay safe out there on the roads. And have a happy holiday season as the holidays continue to roll forward. Bye-bye.